People paying money to see me in a 20-by-20 ring.
Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another episode of the 20-by-20 Ring Crew, episode 41. Here with you is, as always, Joe.
What's up?
And I'm Matt. We are your Ring Crew, and I know right now you got to be full of great holiday food and holiday cheer. And hopefully you're not too broke from Black Friday.
Yeah.
Because we both know how that can be. And I know you guys are all waiting for this episode because the past 2 weeks, as we talked about, it's been bracketology, if you will, of the Tournament of Survivors. And here we are. We're finally here. We have all 32 participants. And the brackets were released to you, so you guys can fill them out at your will and go through it as we go along with it. And we're gonna go right down through this entire tournament for you. And I gotta point out again, we were very fair about how we did this. This is completely random.
Yeah, thanks to random.org for the list randomizer.
Yeah, so I mean, when I was told some of these matches, I mean, these are like championship final round caliber matches potentially. And they're happening in the first round. But then again, I mean, if you're a fan of, let's say, March Madness, that happens sometimes.
It does happen. It does happen.
You know, so it is what it is, and that's the only way that we could legit do it. So that's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna go straight through what we have, and you guys can follow along, and you could agree or disagree as much as you want. So
I'm excited to see who everybody else picks.
Yeah, absolutely. Please let us know that. So I guess without further ado, I'm gonna stop talking about it, and we're gonna be about it, and let's do the damn thing. Let's start this tournament.
Right off the bat, and keep in mind this was all random.
Yeah.
So, but the number one seed in the entire tournament, Eddie Guerrero.
I'm fine with that.
Me too. Taking on the last seed, or the 32nd seed, in Nasty Boy Brian Knobbs. So I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
Judging by all the participants we went through, I think he's a safe 32nd seed.
I don't really think I have to even ask. Like we're gonna do this match. We got, and again, it's important to know that the year in which these guys are picked from.
Eddie Guerrero is the number one seed in this tournament. He's representing the 2004 Survivor Series.
Yeah, and
then Brian Knobbs is the 32nd seed in this tournament, and he is representing the 1992 Survivor Series.
So, without a doubt, I mean, 2004 Eddie Guerrero, again, we talked about this during the bracketology. You're talking a former world champion.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking a guy who's about to have a very hot 2005, of course, up until his demise, his passing. But not a whole lot can touch Eddie Guerrero at this point. And Brian Knobbs certainly doesn't pose much of a threat.
Well, no one wants to touch Brian Knobbs, so that's what they have in common.
Oh, man. So, I think this is probably one of our easiest picks of the night. Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero.
Goes to the next round. This is kind of like that first round bye, almost. You know? It was that bad. So, yeah, moving right along.
With the third overall seed. The second overall seed, CM Punk, representing 2006, taking on the 31st overall seed. I don't know if I agree with that one.
Yeah.
Representing 1988, the one and only Macho Man Randy Savage.
Man.
This is holy shit. This is one of those matches, man. I didn't expect to be having to call this match this soon.
This is one of those following contest type matches.
Yeah.
You know, CM Punk versus Macho Man. This is one of CM Punk's fantasy matches. You know, so this is one of those intriguing situations here because you have Macho Man, 1988. Obviously, nothing's really touching him at this point. Like with the Eddie Guerrero in 04, but the difference is he is still WWF champion at the time.
Right.
He is he's on the hottest roll going into 1989. And then you have CM Punk. CM Punk, who at this point is about to taste world title in the very near future. Is about to have a really good 2007, the next few years, I should say.
Yep.
Not just 2007. For my money, this is not quite following contest because we have to keep in mind we do have to base the year.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel CM Punk fails in this match because as good as CM Punk is, even in 2006. The role that Macho Man is having, I don't think even
Macho
the
Man,
straight Savior can
Macho Man
stop
was
him.
white hot, man.
Yeah, and I think Macho Man takes this match against CM Punk because of that. Because CM Punk, again, the talent's there. Like he got more talented. It's just as far as where he's at, it's not like Macho Man's a scrub, you know. So. You have you got a guy who is again white hot. He's the champ. Nothing's really touching him. Macho Man goes to this next round.
I agree with you. I think it's just he edges him out just by a little bit. Again, Macho Man in '88, white fucking hot.
Right.
New champ, whole nine.
Right.
CM Punk just wasn't there yet. He was close, but he wasn't there yet.
Yeah. That's just the product of the year, unfortunately, for CM Punk. So Macho Man is in. Moving right along to the next one.
Moving right along, yes, sir. With the third overall pick, Samoa Joe representing 2018, which, again, you may agree, you may not agree, whatever.
Yeah.
Taking on the 2005 representative, and he is the 30th overall seed in the tournament in the Apex Predator, Randy Orton.
Man, I think for me, Samoa Joe is going to have a tough time in this tournament because it's WWE Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what year I give him at this point. It's a WWE version. It's not the same version. 2005 Randy Orton is actually, as much as I don't like to say it, he's actually a good version of Randy Orton.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's coming off some like crazy battles with Mick Foley and Chris Benoit and Triple H and things, people of that nature, and Samoa Joe, as dominant as he still is in that ring, he doesn't win him a whole lot of matches, and that's not really his fault. That's booking, but
it's not helping him here.
Yeah, it's not helping. It's not helping the cause. I like Samoa Joe obviously over Randy Orton. But to be fair in this tournament, I have to base it off the year again, and I gotta go Randy Orton over Samoa Joe, and that pains me.
Oh, that does pain me. Yeah, unfortunately, folks, Matt's right. If the criteria we're using is the year that they represent, let's face it, Samoa Joe is having a kind of a mediocre year, and unfortunately, that's just the way it happens sometimes. And as much as I also would love Joe to go over, it's not going to happen, man. Randy Orton's taking this one.
Who made up these shitty rules? Oh, we did. That's right. That's right. Damn us.
Moving right along, we have the fourth overall seed representing 2015, Bubba Ray Dudley.
Okay.
Taking on the 29th overall seed, representing 2016, the one and only Charlotte Flair.
So you have your first
intergender match of the night.
Interesting. What's your take on this one?
You know what? I could see Bubba Ray just running his mouth first and foremost. That's an understatement. And I could easily see him trying to get into Charlotte Flair's head, mentioning her father and whatnot. But you know what? I think Charlotte Flair toughs this one out, and I think she puts Bully Ray out of his misery right here in the first round.
It's interesting that you just called him Bully Ray here, because he's coming off of that. He comes back to WWE. He's back to being Bubba Ray.
Yeah, yep.
And the unfortunate thing is that 2015 Bubba Ray and Devon, for that matter, are bad. They're bad. They come in the night after SummerSlam. I want to say 2015. And they have this great impact immediately, and then they just die. They just essentially die until they officially get euthanized. They're like a dying dog, and that's the case here. And with Charlotte Flair, let's not forget the 2016 that she's had. The year of 2016 for Charlotte Flair was not just a breakout year for her; it was a breakout year for women wrestling in WWE. Mm-hmm. And you and I were talking about it for a different reason earlier before we started recording. But we can't forget that Charlotte Flair, along with Sasha Banks, main evented a pay-per-view, which is a huge ordeal. I mean, women have main evented Raws and SmackDowns in the past, but never a pay-per-view.
Right.
And again, it wasn't just a pay-per-view. Keep that in mind. It was a Hell in a Cell match as well.
Yeah.
She's doing Hell in a Cell matches. She's doing Falls Count Anywhere matches. I'm pretty sure there was another specialty match that she was doing in that year. I mean, she was putting her body on the line for sure.
Oh yeah.
In ways that Bubba Ray wasn't. And I think for me, this is actually an easy pick. It's Charlotte Flair, hands down. Because you're not going up against 2000s Bubba Ray.
No, you're not.
He's a shell of his old self. He's not allowed to be the bully because it's WWE. And, you know, we got to play by the same rules. And again, Charlotte Flair is no slouch. You know, again, I'm not trying to make excuses to why Bubba Ray will lose. But I'm trying to give you an understanding to why Charlotte Flair is going to be not only win this round, but be a tough opponent in future rounds. So, which we'll get into obviously later. So yeah, to me, Charlotte Flair goes to round 2.
All right. Representing the 1989 Survivor Series, we have our 5th seed in the tournament, Mr. Perfect Kurt Hennig, taking on the 28th seed overall, representing 2014, Natty Neidhart.
Wow.
Yeah. As we see the New Era Heart Foundation on the TV screen in the background, as always, Matt and I are watching wrestling as we record, and in this case, we are watching an episode of MLW Fusion. You can catch the show on YouTube for free on their YouTube channel.
If you have BN Sports, it's also available every Friday. Saturday, if you don't have BN Sports, it's fine. I don't have it either. Catch it on YouTube at when? 6:05. So catch it every Saturday. Every Saturday you got wrestling. Tony Schiavone, Matt Striker call the action. It is a fucking great show. I can't get enough of it. This is the second time I've watched this particular episode, and it's like watching it for the first time for me. Like, this is a really good match.
Nice.
Excellent. I'm going to be distracted a little bit. Moving right along, though. Actually, no, I'm not moving right along. We got to do this match, though. Mr. Perfect versus Natalya. a rivalry renewed as far as Kurt Hennig and the Hearts.
And the Hearts, yeah. Man, you just can't get away from them. Shit.
So, what year again? Remind me. What year was Natalya being represented?
2014.
2014 Natalya. Not necessarily her best version.
No, and you know what? I think this seems to be playing a bigger part than I had expected. This whole year criteria, this year rule, because 1989's Mr. Perfect was just that, man. I mean, he came in with a bang. He didn't, he's not a slouch to begin with.
Right.
When he first got into the WWF, he was coming from the AWA, where he seemed to be like a fucking big fish in a small pond.
Right.
So, I'm giving this one to Mr. Perfect.
Yeah, I am too. Natalya again. Natalya's lost. I love Natalya. I do, but she's definitely lost the spark that was there in the when she came into the scene in the late 2000s. It's just not there anymore, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just her being mismanaged. Well, I know a lot of it has to do with her being mismanaged. And it's interesting, too, because Mr. Perfect doesn't stand out to me that much either because of what you said. And again, you're talking about a Mr. Perfect in a big man era where he's just a worker.
Yeah.
That's all he is. He's a great worker, but he's never going to be a champion in that era. At least... you look at Mr. Perfect and let's say in 2014, probably easily world champion if handled correctly. I mean, we were still talking about Vince McMahon
right.
calling the shots. But then again, I feel Mr. Perfect in 2014 in his prime wouldn't be in WWE anyways.
No, I don't think so.
But that's not the point here. But to me, Mr. Perfect definitely takes Natalya. And Natalya is the first woman eliminated in this tournament.
With the 6th overall seed in the tournament, representing 1990, the immortal one, Hulk Hogan.
Whoever his opponent is, he's going to win.
Taking on 1996's representative, number 27 overall, Bart Gunn.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
He rigged this.
Hogan politicking again.
You did say 1990 Hogan, right?
Yes, 1990 Hogan.
It's not even a match. It's Hogan's going on. In my opinion, Hogan beats Bart Gunn.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the case here. I'm sure our buddy Paul will be happy.
Yeah,
that Hogan's moving on.
Hey, you won a match. Hey, because you're talking Bart Gunn, 96. He's part of the Smoking Guns. They're a successful tag team, but nothing more.
So much promise from a guy, and then nothing happens. Nothing good, anyway.
And this is still before Brawl for It All or whatever.
Yeah, Brawl for All.
Brawl for All.
What a fucking nightmare that was.
You know what, too? It's funny, real quick, how I forget who talked about it, but like how crazy it got Bart Gunn over for him winning that tournament.
Yeah.
And then they fucked it up by actually having him fight Butterbean.
Yeah.
And getting his ass knocked out right away. It's like all that momentum, and then you actually have him go into a boxing match with a real boxer.
Yeah.
And gets knocked out right away.
Horrible.
That's terrible booking. Terrible booking. You brought that guy up, and then you killed him. That's all you did.
Speaking of bringing guys up and killing them, similar train of thought here. Moving on. With the 7th overall seed in the tournament, definitely not my favorite. Representing 2017, come get these hands.
Oh, no.
Braun Strowman.
Oh, Jesus.
Taking on the 26th overall seed, which, again, I don't agree with.
Yeah, who see this shit?
2002's representative, the one and only Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam.
The whole fucking show.
The whole fucking show. I can tell you right now, I'm picking Rob Van Dam.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily, and for those who don't know Rob Van Dam could take Braun Strowman easily.
Oh yeah.
In 2002, when he was still like he was definitely leaving his prime at this point, but he was still in it, and he was still putting on a hell of a lot hellacious matches, taking crazy bumps, doing crazy moves. And he was wrestling big guys, too. He was doing it against the big guys as well. Braun Strowman is no exception. Braun Strowman can't hang with a guy like Rob Van Dam.
No, there's no fucking way.
Just can't. He wouldn't know what to do.
No fucking way, yep.
He doesn't know what to do, how to handle it. Rob Van Dam's going to make Braun Strowman look stupid in that ring. And
which we brought up initially with Rob Van Dam when we mentioned him in the qualifying match.
Right.
That's just what he did. Like, he was that good.
Yeah.
Whether he tried to or not, he just made his opponents look like fucking so silly. So silly.
That, again, I don't feel the need on a wrestling podcast, and I'm sure you feel the same, to sell Rob Van Dam. If you don't know who Rob Van Dam is, and you listen to this podcast, first of all, thank you for listening. But
do your homework.
Do your homework. That's all I can say. I'm not going to insult you, but do your homework. Rob Van Dam is a fucking monster in that ring.
Yeah. A real monster.
Yeah, a real monster among men. Braun Strowman is just really big. So, Braun Strowman, get the fuck out of here. You didn't belong to begin with. Rob Van Dam is moving on to the next round. And that's playing fair.
That is playing fair. Here's an interesting one.
I'm excited about this
with
one.
The 8th overall seed in the tournament, representing 1993, the Hitman, Bret Hart, taking on the 25th overall seed. Again, don't agree with that one. Representing 1994, Bam Bam Bigelow.
And according to you, future Hall of Famer.
Mark my words, man. Take it to Vegas with that one.
It should happen. It's funny too because if you go back to part 1 of our bracketology, I just like saying that word for some reason. I had to do a little bit of selling for Bret Hart. I had to fight for Bret Hart because of Luger, and Luger is definitely the bigger guy of the two. He's kind of like the John Cena of the 90s.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah,
Jesus.
And it's almost like selling an uphill battle for Bret Hart, which I did win that one. But his first round opponent is another huge guy in Bam Bam Bigelow. And it's like, fuck, can I do it again? I got to go Bret Hart still. I love Bam Bam. I don't need to be sold on Bam Bam. I do love it. This is probably, to me, the first real tough one of the first round. Like the one that is really flip a coin. I'm gonna go Bret Hart by the slimmest of margins. I still think he is too damn hot about to go into '94 and win the title and pretty much become the face of the company. Like he is right there. It is. The finish line is in sight. He's not there yet, but it is right there for the taking. Bam Bam Bigelow doesn't quite get the respect that he deserves, not just by many wrestling fans, but WWE. I think his best. I know his best days were not in WWE, anyways.
That's true.
And I just see Bret Hart overcoming the stature in this case, and he takes this round. And I'm torn because I want to see both those guys have a good run. But again, it's one of those matches we talked about before we started doing this episode, where this could be potentially a championship round match.
Yeah.
And we're doing it in the first round.
First round.
For my money, I like to hear your take on it. But for my money, I got Bret Hart.
You know what? I was all set and ready to give you this argument about Bam Bam, and then you said something that resonated very heavily with me. And that was, he didn't have his best years in the WWF. He had them elsewhere.
Right.
And you know what? I wholeheartedly agree with that. even when they, even with matches like him versus Lawrence Taylor at WrestleMania,
right?
Things like that should have been much more of a defining moment for Bam Bam.
Yeah.
And they turned out to not to be. Like, he had so much more to offer. So, you know what? I'm sold. Bret Hart moves on to the next round.
Sorry, Bam, man. That sucks.
Yeah.
But, Hall of Famer, man.
Yeah, speaking of suck, with the 9th overall seed in the tournament representing 2003, John Cena.
All right.
Yeah, going up against the 24th overall seed representing 1999, it's The Big Show.
The Big
John
Show.
Cena versus The Big Show. This is one of those matches I could give two fucks about.
Is this shit and diarrhea?
It is shit and diarrhea, yes. Shit and diarrhea revisited.
All right, so...
But you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, I can't fucking stand John Cena, so
Yeah.
Big Show's my pick.
Big Show's your pick? Big Show's my pick, too. But I do want to say real quick, I guess if I had to pick a year of John Cena, it would be 2003, which was the most tolerable year for me. You gotta keep in mind there is an age difference between me and Joe here, and
Only physically.
I'd be belated, by the way.
Thank you.
And the 2003 Matt viewer was like an evolving viewer of wrestling. You know, when I first started, it was gimmicks, good guys, bad guys, all that shit. And 2002, 2003, it was like the building blocks of me being a viewer of the wrestling that I watch now, of how I am now, where I don't take things at face value. I read between the lines. And believe it or not, and again, keep in mind, I'm beginning to become what I am today. I saw John Cena, and I was like, wow, this guy has potential.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's shitty about this. He
Yeah.
has all the fucking potential.
I
All of it.
love the going back. I mean, it's well documented now. The match when he had against Kurt Angle, it was nothing spectacular about it, but it was like, wow, he hung with Kurt Angle. I think this guy's got talent. He hung with Chris Jericho. I think this guy's got talent. I never liked the Dr. Thugonomics, but
No.
I still liked the quality of matches he was having. I thought they were good for the most part. It was 2004 and on when he kept winning every fucking match, and then you started seeing the decline in the quality of matches.
Yeah.
Pretty quick. It wasn't like a steady decline. It was almost like a drop. That's the reason why I hate John Cena. But if we had to have a John Cena in a John Cena in this tournament, which we do, I'm glad it was 2003 because that's still a tolerable John Cena to me. That being said, Big Show's still having a much better 99.
Yes.
You look at Survivor Series 99. Not only did he win the Survivor Series match as the sole survivor in a handicap Survivor Series match, but he also wins the heavyweight title or WWF title that night too. So the Big Show is the winner in my book as well. I just wanted to point out that this is not a complete hatred of John Cena. John Cena is not quite Hulk Hogan to me.
Wow.
And I not.
That's such a heavy sentence.
It is because I hate everything about Hogan, and it's all gonna be put out there for everyone to hear in a very near future. I can't fucking stand anything about that guy. He's one of the worst things that happened to professional wrestling. I don't give a shit about. I would take professional wrestling in a fucking circus any day. As I was been told, he took wrestling out of the circus. Put it back in the circus if that means Hogan's fucking out. Because anyway, we'll go more into that later. I'm not gonna go on that tangent. But yeah, John Cena's not quite Hulk Hogan, but he's not as good as 99 Big Show. So
we hope you're enjoying our Soul Survivor tournament as it stands so far. We're a little more than halfway through the first round brackets of this massive tournament, and we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back. So please stay tuned.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you what to wear. Hell no, I'm not better. But I am smarter. I'll bow to the masters. The masters over at Raise. Raise will hook you up with all kinds of discounted gift cards for your favorite places to eat, for your favorite places to shop online and in store. They have any place you could possibly think of, and they even have discounts on ride-sharing services like Lyft and Uber in case you guys need to make it to a show. So hop on over and support the show. Support your 20x20 crew. Visit us for more information on Raise and discounted gift cards over at 20x20crew.com/podcast/raise. That's RAISE. 20x20crew.com/podcast/raise. And we got 2 words for you. Save money!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are smack dab in the middle of our Soul Survivor Series tournament, the first round, and again, we always have wrestling on the background as we're recording, and we're watching MLW Fusion and what Matt referred to as 2 crazy old fat guys in a match between PCO and LA Park. And you know what? You couldn't be more right, unfortunately.
Geez,
yeah. For those of you who haven't had the chance to watch PCO live in action, it is quite the experience. I don't want to say it's a good experience or a bad experience, but you're going to leave there a changed person. Yeah. This dude he clearly should just not be wrestling. And then on top of it he's bad. He's bad. He's a bad actor. He doesn't sell shit very well. It's comical but also sad. He's like a sad clown. But getting back on the topic of our Soul Survivor tournament, we're a little more than halfway through actually. And before the break, we were talking about the problems with John Cena, and why Big Show won that match.
Yeah.
And we're gonna continue on here with the 10th overall seed, representing 1995. Dead man himself, The Undertaker, taking on the 23rd overall seed, representing 2011 Survivor Series, Wade Barrett.
Interesting match.
Yeah, very interesting match. Admittedly, I wasn't watching too much 2011 WWE, so I don't have a whole lot to say about Wade Barrett. What I did see, I liked.
Right.
So,
if I'm not mistaken, you said 2011, right?
2011, yes.
I think this was post Nexus.
I believe so, yeah.
And I don't know if he was doing that whole core bullshit.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, everyone forgot about that. Wade Barrett's a good talent, actually, and he's a product of a lot of injuries. I remember, actually, there was one in particular where he separated his shoulder in the middle of a match.
Ooh.
And with that same arm, he's pissed off because he's injured again. And he's already been prone to injuries in the past. And he takes his arm and he slams it on the ground and hurts himself even more just out of anger. And, like, he just doesn't care. Like, he's just like, fuck it, I'm hurt, so I might as well just re-aggravate it some more, right? It's stupid, and I'm pretty sure he knew it was stupid, but he's one of those type of guys that I always felt had the right mindset for the business. Unfortunately, just didn't have the body to keep up with it. Wade Barrett, I think, gives a good match to The Undertaker, but I got Undertaker going on. And it's not the best Undertaker, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. It's 1995 Taker.
Yeah.
So he's not. I don't think he's even necessarily reached his full potential at this point.
No, but I still got him over Barrett. But what do you think? What you got?
You know what? Only because essentially the same two reasons. Barrett is not accident prone, but injury prone. That's a better word. And Taker again, he's not met his full potential as the Dead Man. But you got to remember, he was such a quick star.
Right.
You know, he was stealing the show like almost immediately after he was in the company.
Yeah.
You know? So, I'm going to give this one to Taker as well. Especially in that year, him being so young with the company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, that'd be a really interesting match.
Yeah,
I'd love to see that match.
Definitely would. Next up is the 11th overall pick, or 11th overall seed, representing 2009 in the Celtic Warrior Sheamus. He's taking on the 22nd overall seed, representing 2010, Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio versus Sheamus. Sounds like a run-of-the-mill match on a fucking SmackDown.
Well, that's because how they book.
At this point.
Yeah. That's how they book it, though. 2009 Sheamus over 2010 Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio, yeah.
You gotta remember, 2009 Sheamus was a really good Sheamus.
You know what? I'm taking Sheamus on this one.
Yeah. I agree, actually. That was a really good Sheamus. He's I wouldn't say he's red hot, but he's certainly a major force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm.
Putting on some really good matches, taking some really good bumps, too, that year. What I liked about it, too, because a lot of big guys, they come in, like a Braun Strowman or Brock Lesnar, they don't take bumps. They give bumps, they all that shit, but they don't take them themselves. Sheamus was getting his ass handed to him and giving it back at the same time. Again, that whole give and take relationship in professional wrestling goes a long way, and it really helped Sheamus win that crowd over because there was nothing special about his character. I mean, he was an Irish fighter. Like, we saw that with Fit Finlay, like, not that long ago, prior. So, why is Sheamus any different? And it's because of what he brings to the table in the ring. Again, I missed that version of Sheamus. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was the injuries. I don't know if it's the money. I don't know what happened, but you certainly get a very lazy version of Sheamus nowadays. but Rey Mysterio in 2010, too, just... It's not his best version. His prime is definitely over.
Yeah.
He's getting saggier with the lack of steroids being taken now.
Yeah.
That's right, I said it. He took steroids. Yeah, to me, Sheamus, I think pretty convincingly takes his match. Too.
Oh yeah.
So, Sheamus moving on.
This one, this is all the meat right here, man, in the first round, let me tell you.
All right.
With the 12th overall seed, representing 2000.
Okay.
The Rabid Wolverine, Chris Benoit. Taking on the 21st overall seed, representing 1997, the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. Holy fucking shit. When we saw this, right after this got randomized, we saw this list. This was the match. We immediately looked at each other and were like, "Oh my god, god damn!"
This is one of those matches why I call Ken Shamrock one of the biggest disappointments.
Oh man!
Because we were so close to getting this match.
Yeah,
it would have happened. We would have had Shamrock and.
We would have.
I mean, we would have had Shamrock versus Angle. You had Shamrock versus Guerrero. You had Shamrock versus Benoit. And he blew that chance to lose to Tito Ortiz a million fucking times. but Shamrock versus Benoit. And Shamrock in 97, too.
Yeah.
So he's definitely like starting out in the WWE at this point. But he's one of those guys that I think the only guy that went from MMA to professional wrestling seamlessly. Like, it just,
well, these days, one at that time, yeah.
Yeah.
These days, one of select few. I mean, because
Okay.
they do exist.
sure, that's fair.
They're more plentiful now.
Yeah, that's fair. And he just, it's like he was doing it forever. And obviously Benoit being Benoit, I mean, again, we say his name on this podcast, and he's one of the greatest professional wrestlers that ever laced up a pair of boots.
Absolutely.
Who do you got? For me, I go Chris Benoit.
Yeah, I go Chris Benoit without a doubt. I mean,
He's win
again,
by submission, though.
probably not.
No?
No,
It's gotta be a pinfall.
Yeah, I think it's a pinfall.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to make Shamrock tap out,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
But Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit is not a bad word on this podcast. So for those of you who think of him as such, lighten up, get over it. We're talking wrestling. We're not talking personal life. So
Yeah, I agree.
But even in 2000, Chris Benoit, like, he had his shit together in the ring.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny how wrestling. You watch wrestling long enough, and you pay attention. It changes your life, whether you want it to or not. And for me, Chris Benoit was one of those life-changing people, because I remember listening to an interview with him, and they were talking about his in-ring work, and he made it a point to keep saying that he doesn't like to waste motion in the ring. Everything has to make sense. He tries to think 3 and 4 moves ahead so that he's not wasting any energy. Everything has to make sense. Everything has to be fluid, and I used that at my 9 to 5 because I had a very physical job.
Right.
And after learning that, it made sense. Like, you know what? It's so logical. It makes perfect sense. Why not try to work that way as well? And I did. I did for a very long time. And trust me, it works. when you sit and try to take 3 and 4 steps ahead and just be a smarter worker.
Right.
You know. So Chris Benoit. Chris Benoit definitely over Ken Shamrock. And I do feel cheated that we didn't get to see all those possible dream matches with Ken Shamrock. You know, and more than likely it was for the money and less working dates. But you know, to sit there and lose to Tito Ortiz a couple times, like, I really hope it was worth it, because
lose to everybody.
I think I think he would have hung around a really long time in wrestling in that company at that point.
In that company, or I know he would obviously would have been much older today, but I mean, today's standpoints, I mean, we see old guys, PCO, LA Park, for example.
Please don't use PCO.
Well, just staying around. Ken Shamrock's one of those guys that has always kept himself in great shape, like a Sting, for example.
Yeah.
And
that's a better example.
Better example, okay. And I could see him against today's generations. Again, they wouldn't be him in his prime, but this is professional wrestling. You can get away with that.
Yeah.
You can't get away with that in
MMA.
Yeah. UFC you can, because again, they're fake. But moving on. The heel returns.
Here's another interesting one. With the 13th overall seed representing 2001, The Rock going up against the 20th overall seed representing 2007, the Cerebral Assassin, Triple H. Yeah, these two have quite the history
the
together.
rivalry renewed.
Yeah, right? 2001 Rock versus 2007 H. You know what? I quite honestly, I don't even care at this point. I would just love to see these guys go again.
Yeah. One more time. one more time when not. I mean, obviously not today. Not
Yeah, I was gonna
2018
say no,
versions.
not 2018 versions. No thanks.
I mean, Rock's still in great shape, but he's not. His wrestling
Yeah, no,
ability
he's
just. We saw that with John Cena. So, who you got? Who do you got in this match? 2001 Rock, 2007 Triple H.
I'm going with The Rock.
You gotta remember too, like this is The Rock. Well, actually, for both guys, this is like their last like great year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, for The Rock, it's because he is going full time Hollywood.
Yep.
But has the match against Stone Cold at WrestleMania. Does some great spots with Booker T in that year, with Kurt Angle that year. Just huge part of that whole Invasion storyline, keeping Team WWF together. He has a great 2001. 2007 for Triple H was also good. But he is wrestling the likes of like The Big Show. And
Yeah.
John Cena.
Yeah, it's a different roster.
Yeah.
So
Big fish, little pond. So, The Rock in 2001 beats Triple H in 2007.
All right. With the 14th overall seed in the tournament, representing 2013, Roman Reigns taking on the 19th seed in the tournament, representing 1998, Kane.
You see, a lot of people are not going to look at this as a big deal, but I do, because
It is a big deal.
these guys are in their prime. These
Yeah.
guys are in their best forms, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Oh yeah.
So you got, for lack of better words coming to my head right now, big dog versus big dog. But again, like legit players. 2013 was a phenomenal year for Roman Reigns. 98, Kane was damn near untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you go? Like where do you go from there? And you know what's intriguing too, because I said this last week. We were talking about Roman Reigns and the bracketology, and Roman Reigns, I said, reminded me, although again not as good, not nearly as good, but reminded me of a new version of The Undertaker, a big guy that can do things that big guys usually can't do.
Yeah, he shouldn't be able to do.
And it's interesting too, because he's facing against Kane, who in '98, who was his biggest rival? It was The Undertaker. So, and he couldn't beat him.
Yeah. You know what? For the juggernaut that was 1998's Kane, I'm actually going to give this one to Roman Reigns.
So am I.
And I'll tell you why. Because we've seen it time and time again. And again, you guys can be angry with me all you want. When Roman Reigns has to face someone at the top of their game, they escalate him, and he answers right back.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I am not a Roman Reigns fan by any means.
All right.
I'm simply making an observation.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. Go back and watch his matches with AJ Styles.
Yes.
AJ got in there clearly much more seasoned and just a better overall wrestler. And because he brought his A game,
Yeah.
Roman Reigns was able to elevate himself to his A game. And it made for one hell of a rivalry. So I'm taking that logic, applying it to this match. I say Roman Reigns takes it.
Yeah, I mean, for Roman Reigns, it's frustrating because he becomes essentially what John Cena became, in a sense where he gets lazy because he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to bring his A game.
Yep.
And that's the thing for all you WWE fans. You got to understand is that you boo the guy, but you're the reason why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
Because you accept.
You created that monster.
Yeah, you accept that form of wrestling as good as the gospel. Well, what's stopping a Vince McMahon handpicked guy to be at that level? You allow it to happen. Don't hate it because you created it. It's Roman Reigns reminds me of the 2018 college football here, Northwestern Wildcats. I'm a huge Northwestern fan. Yeah, they're going to the Big Ten championship. Congratulations! But they beaten ranked teams.
Mm-hmm.
The only team that they haven't beat ranked was Michigan, which they lost by 2 points.
Okay.
They lost to like Akron by like 30 points or something like that. Rutgers, who has like 1 win, they had to beat double overtime. You see this a lot in sports. I saw this with the Cubs this year. You're losing against bad teams, or you're barely beating bad teams. But when you're playing like the good teams, it's like, oh well, we got to step our game up.
Yeah.
No matter what sport you play, or what match, who you're facing in a match, bring your fucking A game every single time.
Yeah.
Because it shows. It shows. It's lazy. I get some matches are going to be better than others. I get when you're a WWE wrestler or a sports entertainer, you wrestle 150 fucking matches a year. It's hard to bring your A game every time. I get that. But when you're on TV especially, you better represent yourself the best you possibly can.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It would have been interesting to see where Roman Reigns would end up. Obviously, he's going through the whole leukemia situation right now,
Mm-hmm.
but the laziness was there, and it was very apparent because I stood by the big dog for so long, and it just got to a point where it's like, I can't defend this. I can't defend this lazy form of wrestling. It's not good. But I agree. Roman Reigns steps his game up, and he beats Kane. I got no problem with that.
All right. With the 15th overall seed in the tournament representing 2008, Beth Phoenix, taking on the 18th overall seed representing 2012, Dolph Ziggler.
Wow.
This is our third intergender match of the tournament. And wow indeed. I don't know how to feel about this one. I really don't.
It's tough because 2008 was a great year for Beth Phoenix.
Absolutely.
Dolph Ziggler had a really good 2012 as well. Like, this is like the last, maybe one more year. So 2013 then. What if it was the last year where Dolph Ziggler was like a legit player?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As far as like where he's at in the company. I mean, I get he's a former Intercontinental Champion in 2018, but let's call it for what it is. He's a glorified jobber. He gets paid to be that, and he's accepted that. This is a tough one for me. Beth Phoenix is a dominant wrestler. The only thing where she lacks in comparison to Charlotte Flair is competition. And
true,
it's really easy, kind of like what we talked about Mr. Perfect in '89, coming from AWA, if you will, to be that big fish in a little pond. And she had the likes of like Kelly and Eve Torres and Michelle McCool and these nothing wrestlers. And you accomplish a lot, but it's like beating a video game on easy.
Yeah.
Did you really beat it?
Did you really beat it?
So, for my money, Dolph Ziggler takes it. It's a good year for him.
Yeah, it's an interesting point you bring up because again, these years keep getting in the way. But you're right. Beth Phoenix didn't have that roster to back her up to give her a little more legitimacy.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take anything away from her, but
no, me neither.
Yeah, for this tournament, yeah, Dolph Ziggler's going to have to take this match.
The show off. And
with our last first round match, the 16th overall seed representing 1987, the inaugural year of the Survivor Series, Jake the Snake Roberts, taking on the 17th overall seed representing 1991, one half of the Road Warriors or Legion of Doom in Hawk.
What a way to finish off round one.
Yeah, I already have my pick, and I'm gonna go with Jake the Snake. I think 1987 for Jake the Snake.
It's a hell of a year.
It was a hell of a
Hell of a
year.
for him.
Much more than Road Warrior Hawks 1991.
Yeah, Hawk, although much more successful than Bam Bam, I'm going to say a similar thing.
Yeah.
His best years were not in the WWE.
It's just not.
It just wasn't. So, Jake the Snake had a hell of an 87. Just really at that prime point in his career. Great character, great in-ring work. This would have been a hell of a match, though. Heavy hitting match. A lot of physicality, in my opinion, and a lot of good just ring work overall.
And he's got a better mind for the business too, man.
Yeah.
You ever get the chance to listen to, for those of you who haven't, there's an episode of Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast with Jake the Snake on there, and they talk about the lost art of selling in a match. Dude, that episode alone is like a fucking clinic on how to sell, when to sell. It just happens almost like obviously they're talking wrestling, that's what they're there to do, but
Right.
it almost happens by accident because that's not what they necessarily intend to talk about, you know. So, but oh my God, yeah, Jake the Snake, 1987, yeah, hands down.
It gets lost from a lot of people because of the the well-known problems that Jake had with addiction and things of that nature. How great of a mind he was in that ring. I mean, people tend to forget, like, he was that guy that you would go to bounce all ideas off of and things of that nature, whether you work for the company or not.
Yeah, man, he easily could have been a booker had he kept on the straight and narrow and just buckled down and stayed working.
I would have loved to have seen a company ran by Jake the Snake.
Hell yeah! Oh my God.
Give him the right financial backing.
Especially with all these young guys. Oh my God. Dude, we'd be in hog heaven, man.
Yeah. You give him the right financial backing, he's going to take any small promotion and make it into a superstar show. But as far as a wrestler, 1987, he's also good enough to beat Road Warrior Hawk in 91. And Jake the Snake wraps up round one.
Round one is done and in the books.
We have a Sweet 16.
So that's our Sweet 16, folks. Please don't forget to join us next week for round 2 of the tournament. This has been a blast. I just the matches that have come up alone in the first round were like, holy shit. Especially Benoit and Shamrock.
Yeah.
That one right there. Fucking take my money. Just take it, you know?
There's a ton of matches I'd love to see. I'd love to see RVD fucking make Strowman look stupid, too. Just look at this idiot thinking he can wrestle.
We hope you had fun. We hope you picked some good stuff. Share it with us. Share it with us online. You can do that through our social media. Again, our Facebook page is facebook.com/20x20crew. You can comment there. We're going to have the brackets in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/20x20talk. Meet us there. Share your bracket picks with all this bracketology going on. You can also send us picks elsewhere through Instagram. Share some photos with us, instagram.com/20x20crew. You can also check us out on Twitter at 20x20crew. Again, we're available on YouTube, where I'm sure we'll revisit some of this at a later date as part of the following contest, which is our exclusive YouTube experience. Check that out at 20x20crew.com/podcasts/YouTube. You can always email us, 20x20crew@gmail.com. And of course, our home on the web, our domain, 20x20crew.com. And that's going to do it for us this week. Again, we'll see you next week, episode 42, working on the second round of this massive 32-participant fantasy tournament. And again, we hope you're enjoying the holidays. And until next time, we will see you in the ring.